Hey, welcome back to another season here in southern Alberta. It is currently March 18th and I am out taking a look at some winter wheat, as well as delivering a little bit of Taraxa and some gopher bait. So I'm down here by McGrath right now, and you can see this winter wheat was seeded relatively late. It didn't have much of a chance to get going before winter, but it is starting to pop back up. I'm just going to check soil temperature here now and we'll see what that's at. And it's looking like we're at about -2 at 2 inches depth right in the seed row there, so still plenty cool. We always want to be probably +5 before we're seeding most of our cereals, although I know there is a few guys are already going and putting in a little bit of barley. Here's a different field, one of the wet low spots, also sitting at -2, and when I push the probe down to about 4 inches I hit frost. This was one of my latest winter wheat fields that got seeded, and you can see here it is quite small. It was very dry when this got seeded and it was slow coming up, and you can see, I mean, it was basically just, you know, barely starting to push out that second leaf when it went into winter here. So this is small enough. It's pretty difficult to see established rows, but you can see the odd one here and there. So hopefully as this breaks dormancy we will see more. And on the truck today I'm delivering some Taraxa. So this is the new seed treatment from BASF that actually gives actual control on wireworms. So some pretty interesting testing coming out with that. Seeing pretty good wireworm reduction in some fields as long as they're feeding on the seed and not on the shoot. And down here I got some Rosal gopher bait, and there's also some zinc phosphide gopher bait on here. So gophers are out and running around, so now is the best time to get them. Usually here in March it's the males come up first and they kind of fight for territory and they fight for females. Generally the females get bred down in the holes. So if you want to keep from having a whole pile of baby gophers running around, now is the best time to control the ones that are up. Well, now we're a little later on out here by Colhurst in a fall rye field, and you can see here our soil temperature is about the same. We're at about -2 in the seed row, and very little soil moisture here in this spot here. You got to get down about 2 inches before you can find any at all. So definitely still cold down at that 2-inch depth. Probably still some frost underneath that wherever there is moisture, but it looks to me like this fall rye is probably just starting to break dormancy, and overall looking pretty good. We've got a pretty good stand going on here, so it's usually a pretty good yielding forage crop in this area. Well, here's some much earlier seeded winter wheat. This was seeded back in August and it was allowed to be grazed here in the fall, so you can see a lot of it has been chopped off. There's a little bit more wind burn too on some of these plants just because of the lack of stubble. Kind of allowed the wind to get in, clean it off, leave it a little bit more exposed to the weather. But overall it is coming back. I mean, we're green at the crowns, we're doing pretty well here, and this is looks like it's probably just starting to break dormancy, so we will see more the next couple of weeks. Well, it's now Monday the 23rd, and behind me here you can see it's looking like we might get a little bit of rain or snow at some point yet today. We have still been dipping down below 0 at night, and soil temperature still kind of hovering around that 0 to -2 at 2 inches depth, so still definitely not ready for seeding. However, it is a good time to do a little bit of fertilizer application, particularly on forage fields, especially if we have rain in the forecast. And as well, some of the pre-emergent herbicides timing right now is pretty good to be doing things like your Fortress and your Avadex, and even Volterra and Fierce, products like that. Get them on now so they can get activated by that spring rain and get to working. Yeah, we did end up getting some snow last night. We ended up getting about 2 inches, dropped down to about -8. It is now just about 0 and the sun is shining, so it shouldn't last for too long. Pretty good, valuable moisture. Our topsoil was getting very, very dry. Well, the snow has now melted. It is now Friday the 26th. Soil temperature still hovering around -2 here at Colhurst. We've had some -8, -10 nights and heavy frost. So we definitely ain't ready to be seeding yet, but I'm sure you guys got more than enough to keep you busy between getting pivots rebuilt and maintained, gearboxes checked, seeding equipment to maintain, so on and so forth, but it'll be upon us sooner than we realize. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.